I didn't do really any special backgrounds or slides or any jokes like that. It's like this is a pretty intense movie that doesn't allow or have a whole lot of room for jokes like that, I guess.
What? You're not going to blame TV for this?
No, I mean, it's not to say that I don't have slides or
No, that's
backgrounds.
actually what the line when, Willem Dafoe's character like is explaining what happened in the hotel room and how they came down from the rope and shot everybody upside down. And he's like, TV is responsible for this. You see this in all bad TV shows. Like this is
It's
not done by
James Bond shit doesn't
professionals.
happen.
Yeah, the professionals don't do it this way. It's it's only in bad TV shows. And I'm like, oh man, thanks for offending half of our audience.
Yeah, it's like we feel seen. That's what we do. But yeah, it's like Schmecker would have like Will Graham's level of empathy if he would like listen to that intuition, like that something simple and stupid happened as opposed to what he thinks is happening. The
Right.
six men with guns versus one senior citizen with six guns.
Well, it's funny because of that idiot detective, for half the movie, he's got like the most horrible logic, the worst ideas, has the worst theories. But by the end of the movie, he's nailed like two of the theories like spot on. Maybe it's just one guy with six guns. And he's
Yeah.
basically told, you're a fucking moron. Go get me another bagel.
Shit. I love Greenlee. He's fucking rad.
Yeah, that I gotta admit, that gave me the nice little humor bumps in this movie.
Yes, and he comes back for the sequel and is one of the brighter spots of the sequel as well. Like the detectives are just fucking awesome.
Yeah, all of them were
Eventually,
pretty good playing up their Irish histories and whatever their nameology is.
Namiology.
Nameology? Did I pronounce that right?
He's a specialist in namiology. Oh, I can't snap my fingers. Ah, I moisturize.
Yeah.
uh, so I guess we're rolling. I guess I'll ask
Oh
the
yeah.
question this week. Did you catch this in the theaters?
No. I
No.
didn't even know about it until 2000. I want to say I was visiting a friend of mine from First Wave and in North Carolina, Julie. You know who you are if you're watching our YouTube videos or listening to our podcast. She's a pretty good friend of mine, and I was visiting her and another, basically it's like Mystery Science Theater fans getting together for a get together. There was a few of us that met up in North Carolina, and she was telling me, hey, check out this one show, Farscape. And oh, this is my favorite movie, The Boondock Saints. And I'm like, never heard of Boondock Saints, but okay. And, we sat down, we watched it, and it was awesome. I thought it was terrific. And then I bought the DVD not long thereafter and had it to this day. I don't have a Blu-ray or nothing, but that's when I saw it. It was not in the theaters, not on a rental store, just on the recommendation of a friend, and I knew nothing about it.
That was similar to my story. I didn't find out about it until I think 2002, late
Okay.
2001, 2002. And a gentleman that was working for me, well, working for a friend of mine, I was running his coffee shops down in Riverside, California. Uh was talking about movies when I was setting up my daily movie trivia questions that I would do every day. Uh and he was asking about the Boondock Saints. I don't remember what he was asking me or what he reference he was making, but I had no idea what he was talking about. It just sounded, I don't know, stupid to me. Because again, I was a snooty little asshole as a kid. And he basically told me, like, take this movie home with you. This will make your life better. And I'm like, wankety wank wank, sure thing. And I'm sorry, Steve. I love you, dude. Um, he was right. Like I watched it. My Mouth was agape most of the time. My jaw hit the floor several different times, as I'm sure yours did too. The only thing is Steve told me that it didn't make it to the theaters because of 9/11. They didn't want people to go like, vigilante style on people of color. And which was probably also true to a point, but it was due to Columbine that this didn't get released out in more than I think 5 movie theaters or some bullshit like that. They didn't want to have that violence in the theater so soon after that. So this got kind of like swept under the carpet and became that it gave it that seed that becomes a cult film. Like nobody sees it until it blows up because it's just huge and cool.
Well, this came out in 1999, so this predates 2001. So
Yes.
it wouldn't have gone to theaters because it came out 2 years before that.
Agreed. So again, Steve, I love you, but you're full of shit.
Okay,
You know.
I fact checked you there.
No. You're right. That's exactly what it was. Is he said that it was because of 9/11, but it really was because of Columbine. Yes.
It was more
That's
probably because of Columbine, because of the similarities to like the outfits, probably. Even the Matrix got some of that bullshit too. I mean,
oh,
oh
that's
yes,
right.
let's point at movies as the problem for with our youth. No, that's not the problem with youth. That's where they got the idea for the costume. They came up with the ideas for everything on their own.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, they took everything else from you: their aggression, their ideas, their tactics, even their fucking costume. They took it from you. Us. Anyway, yeah. So this got swept under the carpet quietly, which was a damn shame because this would have been a huge blockbuster in the theaters, I think. Like, had it gotten a huge summer release, this movie would have blown the fuck up.
I don't know about Blockbuster, but I think it would have been very successful, especially if it was piggybacking along the line. Okay, now I don't know the year of this, but Leon the Professional, if it was any sort of around that time frame, and I can look this up too, but if it came around that same time, I call this like a great double feature pairing. You could pair the two together, and I think they fit very nicely. It would have been great if there was a crossover at some point, but I doubt it.
That would have been fun.
That would
I
have
could
been
have
dope.
watched that.
Imagine
I
Gary
didn't.
Oldman and Willem Dafoe playing off each other.
Oh shit.
Like,
That would be
dude,
cool.
seriously, that would have been fucking rad.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't see the last time we saw a scene chewing like that, I think, was Exorcist 3. That would be amazing. Like, it would be a scene you just didn't want to end.
Oh, I know, right?
Um, no, and then what? So you said you have this on DVD. Did
Yes.
you didn't upgrade the to the white? No, bleh. When I say upgrade the white album, like on Men in Black, where he's talking about the new thing that's going to replace the CD, he goes, "Looks, I'm going to have to rebuy the white album." Basically, that's what I call this disc. Like I have it. I didn't have the VHS, had the DVD, have the Blu-ray, and I want to get it on 4K if it's actually even out on 4K.
I don't believe it's on 4K. Now, I didn't know about there actually being a Blu-ray copy out there, even though there should. But it's just one of those that fell between the cracks when I'm like doing all my other Blu-ray shopping and collecting. That's like, maybe I should go through my DVDs and be like, is there a Blu-ray out there? Because quite frankly, I'm so used to watching Blu-rays and like 4K stuff, high def stuff these days that watching the DVD was actually pissing me off. I'm like, I
Oh,
used to
really?
love this, but well, imagine taking this picture and putting a rectangle in the center and it's black all the way around it. Yeah, I could zoom out, but then you got a little pixelation going on because back then, yeah, sometimes DVDs can upscale well, sometimes they don't. And this is one that's kind of in the middle. If it had a better encode with the DVD and to begin with, it might look a lot better. I'm assuming the Blu-rays look awesome. I'm actually probably going to now get it. I don't know if I want the second one. Never seen it, but I have not heard the best things about it. And even though I'm one of those that was dying for a second one for years, but when it came out, are too many things to make me go, I'll watch it eventually when it's free, and I just never got around to watching it.
I have it. I'll look to see if there's a digital code for it. And if it's still even able to be used. But the second one's really not that bad. There are choices made in it that are different than the first one, but it's still very much the same spirit of the first movie.
Okay.
And it's got a good story, but they do, again, certain choices were made that I wouldn't have done, but the movie was just as good. No, I'm sorry. It was not just as good. It was still fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Ghostbusters 2 level, which, like, I know, like, Aaron and Keith are probably like, really?
Yeah, now they want to
was...
like read you your rights. They got a couple coins for your eyes.
I like Ghostbusters 2. God
I
damn.
do too. You lose me at the semi reboot.
No, the only thing is they had to wait too long for this. They had to go through way too many hoops to get the ability to film the sequel. And, like, they want to do a third movie. I don't know what that next project is going to be, like reboot style, streaming service style, or if it's going to be a continuation of the current storyline. I don't know if they even want to do it anymore. Like, I think they do, but it's such a goddamn struggle for them to get each one done. I feel bad.
Yeah, this isn't like Phantasm where it takes like 12 years to get it together for each sequel.
It's close.
Yeah, I know.
It's up there with Super Troopers 2.
I have that in the collection. I haven't seen that one quite yet. I'm a little hesitant on that one, but I'm happy to, because I think I backed the Indiegogo. That's how I got that one. But Boondock Saints, I'll get around to watching the sequel, and then based on your recommendation there, I'll check it out.
A better way to describe it is it's on par with Austin Powers 2. We'll say that too. So, like, some jokes are repeated, but it's still fun to watch.
Is that the Spy Who Shagged Me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm in Golden River Street. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, part one was like lightning in a bottle. Like, for a low budget film,
yeah,
they got some mighty fine actors in it. I know Reedus was kind of up and coming at that point, I guess, in a way.
In my opinion, anyway, not logistically, but yeah.
Yeah. He was instantly great. That was my first exposure to Billy Connolly, and I had no idea that he was best known as a comedian. He's terrifying in this movie, and I loved him. Like, he is an iconic, terrifying bad guy. Well, you can't even really say bad guy. He's like a anti-hero, wouldn't you say?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, because, like, when you want to kill all the bad guys, you work as a hitman for the bad guys, and then when you're done killing the bad guys that they want you to kill, then you turn around and kill them and double your income. Yeah, El Duce was cool. He was a scary fucker. No part of this movie or his character made me say, God, I bet you that guy's pretty funny.
Well, I also felt the twist on that at the end was well done. It was not something I was expecting. Like, not spoiler alert, movies from 99, people. If you're that far behind, I don't know what to tell you. But just the reveal of him being their dad was awesome.
Yes, it was not cheesy at all, was it?
No, it was like he heard the prayer and he's like, oh, hey, wait a minute. I was about to fucking smoke my kids.
Yeah, right.
And then they realized because he finished the prayer, they're like, hey, wait a minute, that's dad.
Yeah, right.
They ain't seen them in 30 years, so that would have made them like young kids or teens at the latest. So
yeah, right. And even though they're supposed to be twins, like still they'd be quite young. One might remember, the other one may not.
Like a
But
Sam and Dean style relationship from like Supernatural, like
yeah,
they're within
yeah, very
a
much so.
reasonable range of age if they aren't actual twins.
Yes. Um, and but I lost it. But anyway, they wouldn't have remembered their dad as much, but at that moment, they're always impish throughout the whole film, but they're also very mannish and
Yeah.
honorable. But at that moment, when their dad finished the prayer, you see them in their 30s, but in their heart, like you could almost see the character is like 13 looking up at their dad, like they were instantly kids again.
Yeah.
And all three performers just like knocked that scene out of the park. I'm just going to skip ahead and just say I'm giving this one a 5 star. So like expect me to kiss this movie's ass going through the rest of the recording.
That's fine. I mean, I give it a pretty high score too. Just because like when I first saw it, I was honestly surprised by quite a few of the twists and turns. It was unintentionally funny, it was funny, it had great action. It didn't feel like these guys were overpowered. They just felt like they were naturals at it more than, oh my God, they're imbued with like this super incredible skill or they've always been hitmen for their lives. No, they just, it's in their kind of DNA, it's their makeup. They are like born to hold a gun and put down the bad guys. It's almost like the Blues Brothers. We're on a mission from God.
Yeah, and see that's one of the great things about, like you said, Blues Brothers, and then this movie. Everything is so simple that it works, but to people like Smecker, it's absurd. They're charged by God to punish the wicked or expel the wicked. And nobody could really believe that as probably a mass audience. You'd probably have people interpreting that different ways, but it very much is that they are literally charged by God, their whole family, to punish the wicked. And it's neat because I don't think that they figured it out until that moment that you'd seen them. Was it after the fight where they were hearing God's voice or their dad's voice? I don't remember
Oh, that
at
was
what
when they
point that
were
was.
crashing in the prison cell.
Oh, that's right. That was after the whole thing.
Yeah,
Which
because they heard that they were being looked at or the police were curious. So they're like, well, let's just go down there and like in self-defense anyway. So what's the big deal? The poor idiot cop's like, they're probably long gone by now. It's like a play on like the Frighteners from like 96 of like, yeah, he's long gone. Hi, Frank. Hi, Walt. And it's the same thing here. He's like, Willem Dafoe's like, you moron, they're standing right the hell there. And then they go, I just thought that was great.
with Greenlee going, yeah, thanks for coming out, and they're right behind him. It's like it doesn't even have to be that meme. He's right behind me, isn't he? It was
Yeah.
just perfect the way the whole scene was shot, and Defoe's face, like the look of disbelief almost,
Yeah.
was perfect.
He's like,
Like,
oh, it's those two. Okay, gotcha.
yeah, like God, they're here right now. And then instantly it's not a story of hard-nosed cop trying to get these guys and then he has this change of heart. No, he's a good cop who already figures that they're not criminals whatsoever, to the point that he doesn't suspect them until the very end because they're so nice, and they really are.
Well, and he gets mad at himself for not seeing it because he's figuring, well, these guys, the guys I'm after are like these way hardcore guys, except for whoever the third moron is, which we'll get to that too. But just the fact that he was going completely crazy until he had the epiphany of like, oh my God, it's those two. Son of a bit. It's like his own arrogance got the better of him. And so he realized, shit, I overcomplicated this fucker. Maybe I should dumb myself down to Greenie and go from there.
Yeah. Poor green beans. I mean, by the end, I think he's kind of like more confident about saying what he's thinking, but God, he gets a ride throughout the entire film for not being smart,
Well, his
smug, smarmy
introduction
even.
basically set that up, which was completely hilarious. Some big dude. And he kept just going on. It's a big dude, and he was beating on him, and then they shot at him, and wow, whatever. As Willem DeFoe and like the police commissioner are standing there, and he's like, the commissioner is gonna go stop him, and he's like, no, let him finish. It's almost like Christmas Vacation, and the dog. Once he gets started, just let him finish. It's just best to let him finish.
Oh
And so,
no.
and so that's what they went with. Is like, nope, just let him finish his stupid story, and I'll tell you how it really goes.
Speaking of just let him finish, this might become my new official background for the studio.
Hey, that's okay.
Like,
Just put our logo on there. You know, it's okay.
what's up in there in the very tippy top up there somewhere?
The tippy top.
It's just I made it blend in really cool. But yeah, I like that.
Sinbad.
I couldn't decide on my legs asleep now. I couldn't decide on what I wanted for the background because the gunroom is amazing. If you like firearms, it's just as much fun as Burt Gummer's basement. Like
Even
everything
better because of the some special guns that were in there.
Oh yeah, the cannon and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And there was rope. There was plenty of rope. I don't remember. And Levi might be ready to mistake us or correct me on that mistake, but there was plenty of rope in this gun room. I don't remember seeing Bert having that much rope.
Yeah, Levi. You need to fact check us on that, buddy.
It's all I had on that one. But
Just no graboid head hanging in there either. So
that would be kind of cool.
no, but in the
Sinbad,
Sinbad, there was plenty of grabbing going on from Rocco. Just gonna say that. Hey, Mrs.
That was so
Actress,
funny.
I'm gonna grab a feel.
Yeah. And then immediately, I'll tip her.
That was so funny. It's like, what? We're here. I'll tip her.
But Reedus's voice, what the fuck are you doing?
He almost lost his accent during that if he didn't entirely. That was so funny. It's almost like a little improv, but it probably wasn't.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, because these guys, like, they had so much electricity between them.
Yeah.
You had, it's almost like the Iron Man effect. Like Robert Downey Jr. and Favreau had so much synergy that they just stopped with the script eventually.
Well, there's a little wiggle room with things, and I would think, these guys are all goofing off like in between takes, and somebody was like, hey, let's stage this and record some of this, or just keep the cameras rolling for a few extra minutes and just see what happens. You never know. That could have been how they did some of this.
That's true. That's true. But other parts where I wouldn't say is scripted is the choreography of the fight scenes. It's not just having a normal fight scene that you would have in the 90s or a shootout. They make it something more like art. And I know certain people could argue that, like, okay, maybe John Woo action movies are art, but it's not like this, where they have it set to this beautiful score and it's being narrated by one of the most marvelous actors of our time. And he's in the scene as they're like having this big violent scene, and he's explaining what's happening. And he's part of this magnificent like opus almost. That's like the only way you could define the fight scenes in this movie is it's an opus. I didn't get a single one of those pictures. I apologize, but I'll tip her that I did have a picture of.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And to your point on that, this was before bullet time was really a thing, and I am very happy about that. The Matrix slow down with the bullets, shooting in the slow-mo. We didn't really get too much of that at all, and I very much appreciated that. I'm a fan of classic action. Yeah, I don't mind bullet time if it's used to if it's used properly and efficiently, not overdone.
I think it's best used as a gag. Like, was it neat in the Matrix for me? Sure,
The
because we
first
never
one,
seen that before.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like Speed. That was fun too the first time I watched it. But
What, you didn't like
once you
Speed 2 Cruise Control? What is wrong with you? No, I'm kidding.
my wife owns it, I think. I don't know. No, I've never seen it.
Uh-huh. Gotcha.
No, it's Brandy, I promise.
No, you have your hands up behind you, so I see what you're doing.
Let me see if I could change this to something more comfortable. All right. Um
Willem DeFoe.
I
Before he
loved him.
became the Green Goblin.
Smecker is just the best. Like, I love him so much. He's brilliant. Like we said, he's like on par with Will Graham, but in hindsight, he could sit and like have that moment of empathy to recreate the scene. And again, that's how they did the fight scenes or the fight choreography, was with his narration. But then he'd be doing something completely like normal, like this, like playing with the feather boa just because it feels pretty and it's stimulating to him. And I guess maybe that's the best way to put it, is he's stimming. But it's so damn funny because he does it in the weirdest of moments. Like, either it be something like this where he's thinking, or after the fact where you've had the big fight scene between the boys and Il Duce and they shoot off Rocco's finger and he's going completely fucking nuts because even though there's blood evidence everywhere, they sprayed it with cat piss or ammonia, so it's like
Ammonia.
none of it was any good.
Yeah.
So
It's all
he loses
contaminated.
he loses his shit, becomes completely disheveled, realizes everybody's watching him, and then it's like kind of puts himself back together, puts his hand on his hip, and then walks away to go process the finger.
And told nobody about that either, too. He's like, I don't want them having any sort of leg up on me over this, or hold it over my head or anything. Like, I've been basically riding all these stupid idiots for the whole movie. I'm not going to show them that I slipped up here. They could think I'm nuts. That's fine. But I ain't letting them have this.
Well, the fun thing is like they kind of stumbled onto each other at the point where he's figuring out who they are, and they're getting to the point where it's like they feel that they should tell him, because if he hasn't figured it out, he will. And it's a fun little game that they have because Smecker has so much respect for the boys and just general fondness, and the boys have so much respect for him because he's a good, decent cop. And they kind of have that respectful circle where it's like one's keeping the other out of trouble because of that. So it's like they have that neat symbiotic relationship that expands into part 2.
Okay, then I should probably definitely check out part 2, because I did like the ending where he basically turns a blind eye and has the guys come in to take out the mob boss, who's going to get off scot-free because I don't know, I wasn't there, I don't know anything.
I was with my mother. And the mom's out there like, it was him, Mario, which was Papa Joe.
God, that was when it got a little wacky, but at least they brought it right back.
Oh God, yes. And then the level of sincerity that Billy Connolly had for like the apology that he gave to the young lady, that he's telling her, you just have to be brave for just a moment, but you do have to watch me blow this guy's fucking head sky high. he felt bad that she needed to see that, but that is her charge, to see what's going to happen to the wicked from now on.
All right.
And God, that led into a good ending. Really, really good ending. Like one of the first meta type endings of a movie where you're supposed to be seeing real news footage of the Boondock Saints, like people like giving public opinion of them.
Right.
And it was done really well because none of those people that they interviewed were actually talking about the Saints. It was like just a general, how do you feel about, like, say Kobe or what have you, something like that. Oh, he's the shit, or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that was very well done. And one of my favorites was the two guys like, I didn't know you felt that way. Well, I didn't know you felt that way. And they were just kind of like bickering like an old couple. I thought that was like totally funny. I just started dying of laughter at that.
And then from Cain and Abel went social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, people figured out, I didn't know you liked Trump. I didn't know you didn't like Trump. My favorite was the guy who was just like, maybe a little bit fabulous there at the end, where he was just like, you know what? Give me a gun. Give me a gun. I'm ready to get busy. I'm ready to get busy. Like, he just went full fucking Wanda on this shit.
Oh yeah, he did. That's right. I forgot about that one until you brought it back up again.
I'm ready to get busy.
And I liked how they were bleeping out like the swearing during that part too, to make it like a legit news broadcast, because during the movie they were swearing up a plenty of a storm, but I felt like that really kind of hammered it home, like, hey, we're gonna make this interesting here, even during the credits.
Oh, the swearing in this, like this, and again, like our friend Keith would know better than we. This is very much a Boston person's movie. Like, it's written, Troy Duffy is from Boston, I think, or lived there during the time that he wrote this. A lot of the people have spent a good lot of time there, so it's like the attitude and the feel of that time and that place is very much a fingerprint on this movie, including with Doc here. Who's a staple in everybody's life at some point. If you're like if you're like 25 years old, you might know who he is. If you're old like us, Doc was oh god, what was his character's name on Fraggle Rock?
I don't remember.
He was Sprocket's daddy. I don't remember what the Fraggle Rock name was. I was always more of a Muppet fan. I apologize.
Well, I never swore on that project, at least.
No, unfortunately not. But this, my God, it's like they added so many extra F-bombs to this, and blaming it on Tourette syndrome. And, and apparently he does have a natural stutter. So they would fuck with him to get him to stutter the line and get him frustrated and shit, not like angry at them.
Right.
But like gonna snap a towel for fucking with him again or something like that.
Yeah, you little shits.
Yeah, because he was very fatherly on the set, from what I understand. Okay. Everybody just really enjoyed having him on the set and had a lot of respect for him. And they made him do some really fucked things.
Oh, the poor nuns that were sitting there like, what is wrong with him? They're probably like, oh Lord, save this poor man.
Right. And then he's fucking Murphy's having to fucking, or I'm sorry, Connor's having to explain to the little kid that they're playing with or entertaining, he's sick in the head. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Doc's fucking going down the hallway still, fuck ass.
Too funny. Such a fun movie. Like, it's not overly complicated. It's very simple to follow. And the twists come at just the right time. Willem DeFoe chews up scenery. I don't think I chimed in on Willem DeFoe, but I thought he was freaking fantastic in this. He definitely played a very interesting character. Just don't ever try and cuddle him after his fun time. He does not like that.
Oh God, the dichotomy of Smecker. I don't know. Like, do you think would Smecker be, if that came out today, would that be an acceptable character?
Yes, but they wouldn't have him use the slang terms that we will not use on this video that he threw at the guy who wanted to cuddle him, because that would get us demonetized. or something worse. He said something not good.
Yeah, he said things he ought not to have. Basically calling the other guy less than masculine than he was, for lack of a better term. But it was funny because it was Willem Dafoe doing it.
Yeah. He's like, I just wanted to. It's like I just wanted to have a good time. It ain't nothing more than that. This ain't no relationship. We ain't hooking up here. We done.
Yeah, thank God I'm gonna have to switch the hotel room tomorrow. So
It
don't
was
remember
funny
where
how
this
he was
is.
kind of eyeing up all of the potentials. Like, hello.
Kind of, it's like, can I leave my hat there and maybe a sock there?
He had a lineup, so to speak.
He did, and
It was pretty funny. Only the way he did it could he play that, actually. I don't know if anybody else, somebody else would have done something different with the role. They cast him perfectly.
Well, he was able to take Boston's finest and turn them into children, more or less, by sexually harassing them. And it's really goddamn funny because it wasn't just like Greenlee, Duffy, or Dolly. It was also like the regular beat cops, like, we have an extra cell if they could stay here. And, like,
Yeah.
the cop was just like super excited to have the boys staying. And Willem Dafoe's got this, your friends could stay over, if you asked your mom, but he's just got this like shit eating.
But he did make that comment, like, did your mom say it was okay or something?
Yeah.
It's like he's looking around like there's children everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay with me if you guys have a sleepover.
Well, and to his point, like in the morning when they wake up and they come out of the cell, the whole police department's like high-fiving them and giving them coffee and like, hey, you need to make a phone call? Sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, like, here's the change. Of course, kids, that's when phones used to be
Everywhere.
Yeah. You used to have to put a quarter in them for a while, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, when we went down to San Francisco a couple weeks ago, we saw one at the end of the Golden Gate Bridge. I almost took a picture.
Still exists. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wanted to like take a cotton swab and see how many fucking STIs are on there.
All you need is a black light and for it to be dark enough. Then you'll see more than you need to.
It's a vampire phone. It sparkles. But anyway, speaking of sparkles, that wasn't the cat's name. Shit, what was it? Slappy Swanson.
Well, Rocco asked the girlfriend very, very plenty times, can you name the fucking cat? Skippy. Oh.
I'm not fucking sorry.
I had completely forgotten about that scene. And when he hit the table and the gun went off, I was just like, wait, did he shoot himself? I did not remember. So I had to rewind it. And I saw what happened. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I had to be like just looking away for that one brief second. And
that was
Yep.
Oh, I was going to say that was, I think, the first moment in this movie where you were saying it's very divisive between two different types of people. Like, did your jaw just fucking hit the ground and you went click? Or did you just hit rewind to see what happened again?
And I totally get if you're not into anything that, it's an implication. They didn't shoot a cat or explode a real cat. But like, if you're not into anything remotely like that, you kind of know when you're getting to that point. It's Rocco and the guys sitting at the table, the cat's on the table. Just hit the chapter skip button. You'll get right past it. You won't miss too much because it's just going to go right to, his girlfriend showing up and what's the name of the fucking cat?
Which was funny as shit because she hadn't been home in like 9 days, he said, or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's been a few days. And then she remembered the name and what color wolf? He's like, shit, well, what color was it? And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, her friend, it's like they're both having bad trips and shit because they don't know what the fuck is happening. They're partying out.
Whatever drugs, yeah.
Yeah, and like, what was she saying that the cat's name was Skippy? He's like, shh. Shut up, Eileen. I can't get a pack of smokes without running into 9 guys, you fucked.
Oh, Rocco. Rocco was low key almost stealing the movie from everybody else. Because at first he's like this guy who's just always causing problems. He's a complete moron. And then you end up finding he's got a set of balls on him, but man, he's very easy to lose their shit.
Well, Rocco, like he's like their Tom Hagen in a way. Like,
yep.
I think like he's their adopted brother. Maybe he would be the younger of the 3 of them. I don't know. But when Papa Joe figures out that Rocco's not the fucking brains of the situation or the operation, and he fucking shoots him just to fucking get the brother's attention, like the McManuses lost part of their soul when Rocco dies, and that scene is heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Like the I was gonna say Connor and Murph, Reedus and Sean, like both of those guys, Flanery, they were brilliant in this movie, showing so much of emotion and pain, physically and emotionally pain.
Yeah.
Like lifting up a toilet seat out of the fucking ground while your wrists are bleeding and shit with the handcuffs.
Yeah, the handcuffs,
ties,
because they were
handcuffs.
applying too much pressure, cutting in his wrists. At first, when we saw him all bandaged up, I'm like, what the hell happened? When they showed that, I'm like, oh. Yeah, that's pretty badass. Although one kind of bullshit thing I wanted to scream about was like he jumped off a 5-story building and he landed on a guy. It didn't break every bone in his legs.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't. His knees weren't up here.
Yeah, like that's like the one. If you're only asking me one ask, or if you're wanting one ask from me to suspend disbelief on, and then you don't pull any more bullshit, I'll give that to you. So I won't rag on the movie for that too much. But like, yeah, I don't know, a 5-story drop would be okay unless he landed in a dumpster filled with like trash. And then you're wondering what you're getting stabbed with.
Yeah, because those are all, illegal tenements and shit.
Right, especially in that neighborhood.
Yeah. I don't know, but I was thinking that this last time too. And I'm sure thoughts probably crossed my mind here or there.
Yeah.
But it's like my buddy Steve said, him ripping that fucking toilet out of the ground is like the most pissed off he's ever seen somebody before. You're kind of in so much awe when you see that you don't really think about, him Supermaning that out of the fucking ground. And then it's acceptable that he jumps off a 5-story building. In my 40s, as you're saying, no, again, your knees would be up your fucking ears and stuff right now.
2-story building, I could see it. Yeah.
Maybe.
And that's pushing it, but yeah.
He was a huge friggin' guy.
And it took a whole toilet to knock him down. And didn't make his head completely explode. Now, if they had probably the budget to do it, I almost wonder if that toilet hit that guy, if they would have had the head explode.
Oh, like a trauma film?
It just looked like a styrofoam toilet broke over his head when I hit him.
Yeah, but again, like Dave Chappelle says, anything filmed in slow-mo is way much cooler. And so that's why you've got that scene, them falling so slow.
Dramatic effect.
Yes. And again, the music in this is one of the things that makes it iconic is the music contrasts completely opposite from what's happening in the movie.
Yeah.
Like when they're going in slow-mo, you're seeing a scene that's got like, what would you say, techno music at that point?
Yeah.
And then when you're seeing the cops trying to figure out what's happening afterwards, Smecker's dancing around to opera music.
Right.
And it's got a very different but unique style of soundtrack and score. I wish this would have been seen in more theaters, because this, I think, would have just been a much more respected 90s film than the crap that we got towards the end of the decade. And I'm looking at you, Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah, let's rock bottom everybody and do hurricanranas.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you think about a lot of the big action movies that were like super mind blowing or beautiful to watch, and they're really not that good now. They don't hold up that well. This movie really does. Like, you could look back on it and smile. Like, it's a movie where, kind of like Pulp Fiction, where the things that you're laughing at are terrible one way or the other. So it's like,
Right.
well, I laughed about it then. I'm still laughing about it then. I guess I'm still a terrible person. Or it's still just kind of that funny because it was done with class, for lack of a better term.
So your sense of humor falls.
Yeah, like jokes weren't made just for the sake of making dirty jokes or saying dirty words. Like everything was contextual and made jokes better, more believable, funnier, what have you.
Yeah.
But except for the I'll have a Coke joke. Wow, like that was so racist that they even tried to correct it in the script.
That's what it felt like. And then they asked him, "Oh, okay, that was funny. Tell us another one." And he had this look of like, "What, do you want to fuck another one?"
Yeah, and you can't even say having a piece of shit like Ron Jeremy in this movie makes it age poorly, because he gets killed rather like terribly in this movie too, and he doesn't have a whole lot of like scene chewing either. So if you're offended by him, don't be afraid of this movie. He gets his just desserts.
Oh, he gets shot 9 ways to Sunday. So
yes, with good shooting
and bad shooting.
Yeah, and bad shooting, shitty shooting.
Two guys who know what they're doing, and one does not.
Oh yeah, but like part of the charm of the McManus brothers is going back to Blues Brothers, because they're on that mission from God. They are successful both by luck and divine providence, and it's hard to tell which is what half the time. Like the stupid fucking rope getting all tangled in the air ducts.
And the two of them,
and they were wrestling so hard and so much that they got caught up in this rope that they've been arguing about for the last 10 minutes, and they got stuck where they're not falling but able to like spin around upside down and shoot all these guys in this completely insane manner,
which was totally funny because it proved the whole point of, guess I did need that rope, didn't we? Man, Sean Patrick Flanery was so good in this. I thought him and Norman Reedus, the cast was excellent, great chemistry amongst everybody. I could not gush enough about how awesomely this was acted, how it was shot, like the shooting, everything just flowed very well together.
It did. It didn't take me long before I had to say, you know what, this is just a 5-star flick. I'm not even going to wait to rate it. I'm enjoying it as I'm watching it, and I'm eagerly anticipating scenes coming up just that are iconic in it that I loved so much, but hadn't watched in a long time. Like, I don't think I've really sat and watched this since my son was born, so maybe 8 years ago at this point.
Probably about as long for me as well.
Yeah, I want to say I'd seen the second one just after Hunter was born, but that was it. Bought that Blu-ray, just never opened it.
Well, time for me to get a Blu-ray and unwrap that and give it a watch on a real screen with the real picture quality.
It's yeah. The second movie is it's good in digital. Well, high def.
Awesome. I will add it to the collection. I will upgrade. Kevin, you got anything else for us for the Boondock Saints?
Oh, I don't think so. Like, if you like this movie and you're not aware of what's happening with the third movie or whatever it is that Troy Duffy's doing right now, go to boondocksaints.com. Like, from what I understand, he's very active on there with either merchandise that they're putting out, which they're always doing new Boondock Saints merch, and just updates of what he's doing, where they're at with the project, and then what the actors are doing and whether or not they're going to be coming back. They do a lot of neat stuff, so it's definitely worth checking out.
Good deal. And just to cap it off for me, just going to go ahead and I'll give this like a 4.75. I like this one. It ages very well for me. Just a couple things here and there that I'm like, but you know, five-story jumps and things notwithstanding, it's a hell of a fun movie. I wasn't bored like at all, and just the scenery chewing from Willem DeFoe is fantastic. So definitely, yeah. Welcome to the Sin Bin with Suns and Shadows cast. But it's a hell of a goddamn time, and I couldn't recommend it more to anybody else out there. And thank you for tuning in, everybody, to Suns and Shadows 0-point review of the Boondock Saints. If you like what we got, hey, we got other videos in our backlog. We got some fun new March ones coming up. Hey, it's Irish month for us, so we got some other fun items in store and reviews in store for all of you. And if you want to get on board with our Patreons for some early access and behind the scenes footage, we're at patreon.com/SunsAndShadowsCast. All right, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter. We are at Suns and Shadows. We're also on Instagram at Suns and Shadows Cast. We are at SunsAndShadows.com. Thank you again, everybody, and we'll see you down the road.